I'm Chuck Sellers. I live in Dripping Springs, Texas. I'm 73 years old. I've been playing tennis off and on since I was 22 years old. Prior to age 69, I was a left-handed player, and I played left-handed. But because of a traumatic brain injury, I had to switch and become a right-handed player. Originally, I went into my attending physician because my jaw was dropping and I lost feeling my left over here on my left side of my mouth, and he diagnosed me as Bell's palsy. So he gave me a medication, I think some sort of steroid. He said, take this couple of weeks, should disappear. Well, it didn't disappear. So I went back in there and he said, well, maybe I should give you a CAT scan. So he arranged a CAT scan, and that evening after the CAT scan, he called me up and he said, you need to get over here tomorrow. He said, you don't have Bell's palsy, you have a brain tumor on your right side of your brain. He said, you need to go in and see a neuro-oncologist. So I went in to see him, and they diagnosed my problem as melanoma of the brain, which kind of is, it's kind of a serious type of cancer. And then he had me doing an MRI, and the neurosurgeon looked at the MRI and he said, nope. He said, we won't operate because of the location of the tumor. It's too dangerous. It'll either leave you paralyzed or will kill you.
My first feeling was just utter devastation because my dad is my rock, and I have two brothers and one sister, and he's their rock also. A lot of worry, concern, just fear in general of, hey, I might not have my dad around much longer.
And when I first got the diagnosis, I never said, well, why me? Why is this happening to me? I wasn't panicky, I wasn't worried. The only thing I was concerned about, quite frankly, were my kids. What's going to happen with my kids? They're going to be able to make it without me. Have I left them enough money? Did I buy enough life insurance? Did I do this and that?
I could sense the fear, but also at the same time, I could sense his sense of urgency and, hey, I still got to take care of my family. And I'm not talking about, monetary, taking care of people. I'm talking about just being there for his family.
I was worried about my grandkids because my grandkids live with me, two little granddaughters. And I was wondering at the time, if I die, I wonder if they'll remember me. Are they old enough to remember me? So I went through 7 or 8 radiotherapy sessions, and it shrunk the tumor. But at the same time, I started losing feel in my left hand, I guess due to the radiation. And so I'd have an MRI every 3 months, and everything was going along fine. And then one day, the physician calls me, he says, well, you need to come back over because the tumor's come back. And we need to decide what we're gonna do. So I went in to see him, and so he fixed me up with another neurosurgeon. He looked at the MRI, he said, I think we can get in there successfully and get that out, which he did. Went in the hospital, and they cut me from here all the way down through here, plopped that tumor out. That day, I was up out of bed, walking up and down the stairs at the hospital. The nurses said, hey, you're supposed to be in bed. I said, well, I got a tennis match I got to go to. So I go in every 3 months for MRIs, and just recently they had a concern because they thought the tumor had come back again. But finally another neurosurgeon said, well, it's not the tumor. They said, we think you have radiation poisoning from the first round of radiation that you have. But since then, I've lost almost complete control of my left hand, and I've had to go completely right-handed now. When I first got out on the court and I would try to hit with my left hand, and the racket would come right out of my hand. I can grip, I just can't feel anything, whether I'm gripping something or not. I can't button my shirts, I can't zip up my jacket. Like in the mornings, if I'm getting dressed, they have buttons on my shirt. My granddaughters button my shirt for me, which is real sweet. Much of it has to do with muscle memory. So I had to learn muscle memory all over on my right side. As I'd mentioned, I learned tennis the old way, like most people my age learned the old way. But I started watching a number of YouTube videos, and they had some pretty good tennis coaches on YouTube. And they started talking about the modern forehand and serving in various ways you could serve with other than just flat serves, And so I started watching these very intently. And so I started practicing my forehand using a modern forehand. Are there ways that I can persevere? How about if I just go out and practice hard and work harder? And sometimes you have to do those things. You have to go out there and hit that forehand constantly and constantly until you have the proper muscle memory to overcome what you had, what you used to have that you no longer have. So, and then you have to look for inspiration in other people. You know, I wasn't happy that I had a brain tumor, but there's a whole lot of other people in this world and in our community that have it a whole lot worse than me. I'm an optimistic person. I don't wake up with a smile on my face, but I wake up in the mornings and I see my two granddaughters and they make me smile every morning. But it makes me appreciate life much more. You know, 3 years ago I was expecting, well, I'll be dead in 6 months. Well, 3 years later, here I am, and I'm more appreciative of the things. I'm more appreciative of my family. I'm more appreciative of God and what God can bring to your life. My goals are probably to practice enough, to play enough, to get skilled enough that I can play in some tournament tennis within my age group. What's really missing is speed. I don't have the speed that I used to have. And the hand toss, because I have no feeling in this left hand, I have to really work on tossing that ball because I have a decent serve if I get that toss in the right place. And at the polo club, you know, we get some people out here in the polo club that are in their 60s and 70s, and some of them are amazing athletes at that age. And if you're in that age group, you take care of yourself, you have a good diet, and you exercise. And when I talk about exercising, other than off the tennis court, you know, you just can't go out here and hit tennis balls all day. You got to do a few other things too. You know, some cardio, maybe some light lifting and stuff like that. You can still be an amazing athlete, even at an older age. I had to switch and become a right-handed player. It's been a challenge, but I've reached a skill level far beyond what I thought I would achieve.
Chuck's a great tennis player. He's a great coach. He's a great father. I could never ask for a better dad. And you know, if you go out and you have major brain surgery and you're able to go out and compete in a tough sport like tennis and still be at the top of your game, you got to be one hell of an incredible person to be able to do that.